Hey guys, welcome to my first ever plant tour video. I've been thinking about doing this video for a while, but I've been a bit too scared for some reason. I don't know why, but I thought today it's rainy, it's miserable. May as well show you guys what plants I have, where I have them, and yeah. So welcome back if you've watched some of my videos before. If not, hi. That was really lame, but I feel really weird, and thank you to all of my subscribers. I have 25 now, which kind of is not much compared to like other people, but I'm so grateful that you guys are interested in my videos and that you want to watch what I do. So let's start with this guy. I'll get behind the camera and I'll show you where he is and we'll go from there. This is my mother-in-law's tongue that I picked up off a neighbour's front yard and out of their wheelie bin that they were throwing out. I've only just put him here and it might be a really bad spot. He is so far from any window, so we'll just see how he goes, and if he doesn't work out here I'll just move him somewhere else. We may as well finish off in the living room while we're here. This spot here is also a bit of a garbage light spot because it's so far from that window, but I just cycle through different plants here, so sometimes I'll put a calathea. At the moment I have this neon syngonium, which is a recent addition. I also have the fan on at the moment because it's raining, it's humid, and I don't want fungal issues. Over here on my chest I have this ficus, which I can't remember the name of right now, but I just thought the leaves were really cool and he's been growing steadily. Sometimes I have him outside, but he seems okay here, a little bit away from the window. And then I have my Calathea Freddy, who is not doing very well. I think I'm going to put him in soil because he just seems to be hating hydro life. Over by the window, this is a Monstera Antonii Valaniata. I don't know if that's how you say it properly, but I have him outside usually because of how small he is, to try and get him to grow a bit bigger, because I find my plants always grow better outside. But I've just had to bring him inside because he was at risk of getting overwatered. I had to trim this leaf off because it was looking nasty, because he's a pretty young cutting that I haven't planted out too long ago, so that's the only reason he's inside at the moment. Here I have my recent addition of my Queen Anthurium, or Warocquinium, I think it is. I'm still figuring this guy out. This is my first like rare Anthurium. I guess you could say my first rare plant, but so far so good. I don't know, I've only had him for a few days, so I'm pretty nervous. Next door to him I've got my Syngonium 3 Kings, which when I was sort of just went to buy my monkey tail, who is outside. There he is. Hi monkey tail. The lady who I bought him off gave me this plant, and he looked really quite scraggly when I first got him. He's looking beautiful now. I have no idea why she did it. She was just in a good mood. I'm so grateful for that because it's really pretty, and that's probably what got me started into liking Syngoniums, to be honest. Next over we have my Monstera siltepecana. Now I've had him here on and off, and I've had him in the spare bedroom sort of wrapped around the bed head. This trellis I made to grow something on, and things haven't loved it and I've been really disappointed, but the Monstera siltepecana seems to be going okay on it. He's so easy to grow. I recommend him to anyone because it's so satisfying, pretty much same ease as a pothos, so he grows almost anywhere I put him, to be honest. Ooh, what is that? Oh, that leaf is like a bit nasty looking. This is my Orbifolia, Calathea, and I absolutely love him. Like, oh my gosh. The foliage on these guys is just gorgeous, and they can get so big and lush, which I'm hoping he does. But At the moment, he gets swapped between here and outside. I move a lot of my plants around all over the place just to try and keep them as happy as can be and growing really well. Here I've got some horsehead philodendron cuttings that I just got on the weekend from my mother-in-law. This one has a little bit of variegation on it. It's the only leaf that was on the whole plant, and she gave it to me, so that's very kind. I'm hoping that it produces more variegation. Yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see. This one is a couple pink princess cuttings, like not a favorite of mine, and a plant friend of mine offered me a couple cuttings, and I said sure if I don't have to pay for them. And I know that sounds weird, but I see it all the time on Facebook and stuff. People just have these poo princesses that don't produce any pink. You can see there's a little smattering of pink there. It's rooting in perlite at the moment, so is the horsehead philodendron, which is kind of what I'm changing over to at the moment. I kind of really like perlite for propagation currently. Stay tuned to whether that stays the same. This is obviously a fiddly fig, and it's a bambino one, and as you can see it's got a twisty stem going on. Reason being is I have another fiddly fig bambino outside, and I put it in too low of a light and it went really stringy, like it just grew all these big long stems. So what I did was I cut it and I propagated it, and then because the stems were so long and bendy, I just twisted them around each other, and I think it looks really cool. I'm going to like grow the top bushy up here so that it's like a cool stem and then a bushy top, but it probably has other plans. You know how fiddly figs are. Over here is my philodendron Brazil that I've had for almost a year now. I bought it when I was working away from home, and COVID had just started, and so Big W was throwing out plants at like half price, so he was really cheap, and I've propagated him and replanted back in here quite a few times to make him so bushy, and that's my plan. I'm not going to grow him up, I'm just going to grow him bushy, and that's what happens when he's got too much light. So I'll probably have to move him to a lower light position, or he'll keep producing those yellow leaves. Down here I have my first caladium. I don't really know anything about caladiums, so if anyone has any tips about them, feel free to let me know below. But my husband bought me this for my birthday this year, and I think the leaves are super pretty. I know they go dormant in winter, so I'm prepared for that, and he'll be going outside where I don't have to look at the empty pot when that happens. This spot is probably not ideal for him, and when it stops raining I'll probably have to move him back from the window because it will eventually get direct sunlight in through this window during winter. Let's go outside. Right, it's been raining for ages now, so it's kind of a mess out here. This is a succulent that I just got from my mother-in-law. It has pretty cool flowers that apparently smell like dead things, so that's cool. Over here I have my Indian rope hoya. I can't think of the proper name for it right now. And oh, hello. How are you? You're a bit wet? Yeah, it is a bit wet. This is a Syndapsis exotica. Oh my gosh, my camera has a bit of a lag on it today. So that's 2 rooted cuttings. I just got them maybe October or November. No, it was like October in a swap, and they are being slow as heck. Over here on the stool table, everything's kind of not where it normally is because my shelves around the back are getting too much rain right now for my cuttings. But I've got a lemon lime heartleaf philo that I got in a swap. This is a watermelon peperomia that I propagated. This is a begonia that I got in a swap. It's a Rex, and it has taken an eternity to grow as well. It was just like 1 leaf in the pot for the longest time, but now it's doing pretty good. This is my ghost cactus that someone very kindly just sent me out of the blue, which is so cool and so generous of them. Have you gone back to bed, have you? Yeah, it is stay in bed weather, isn't it? I have my Synapsis Silver Lady that I got in a trade as well. Again, it's taking forever to grow a shoot, but I think there's one in the chamber. Behind it is my Synapsis Exotica. Sorry, I just can't pronounce the C in Synapsis. I feel like it's wrong. I'm probably wrong, everyone else is probably right, but I can't bring myself to do it. So this is the guy that I cut up and propagated in my sphagnum moss box when I first made it, and yeah, he's doing pretty good. He's about to start vining, which is exciting because it's such a full pot of plant. I'm going to go back around this side, and I've got my Huicarii, which is not focusing. There we go. And behind that I have my giant watermelon peperomia that I picked up recently from Bunnings. His leaves are just stupid big. Like, what is that? It's massive. This is another Synapsis. It's the Argyria. I'm gonna stop struggling with that. Look at this really, really messed up leaf. What happened there? Anyway, I got it in a swap as well, and I just picked up some of these hangers from Bunnings, and I've been hanging them from my security screens because I'm running out of places to put things, and I rent, so you're not allowed to really put holes in stuff. Down here I have another neon syngonium and my giant bird of paradise, the Nikolai, which is going to give me a new leaf. Gosh, that wind is insane. Wow, it is so pretty. Oh my gosh. I did used to have my bird of paradise out by the fence. Those are just like two succulent planters that are kind of like overflow, I guess, I don't know, but it kept blowing over in the wind, so now he's inside and he's doing alright. Speaking of ones that are outside, there is my Ficus elastica ruby. Oh, she's so pretty. I used to have her inside, but I just don't have enough light to keep the pink coloration, so she's out here where she gets direct morning sunlight. Oh, and this is my sedum burrito, who I love, but I broke, and now he's recovering pretty well. And then down here I've got a bonsai, which is a trident maple, who I've brought in out of the rain. He's normally out by this guy, but I was worried that he was going to get overwatered because he's reasonably new there. Oh, so pretty. I love her. She's doing so well. Now down here I kind of have a collection of succulents that I've brought in out of the rain, because as I said, it's been raining forever and I didn't want them to get overwatered. So this one and this one I got in a swap with someone I met on Instagram, which was amazing. These guys I mostly got from my mother-in-law, and I'm gonna have to put them in a bigger pot because they're overgrowing that one and looking a bit meh. And there's my kaffir lime, which is not really at all a houseplant, but he's here. I'm here for him. On this post I have my string of dolphins, and then on the other side my string of beans. These guys, when I bought them, were tiny, and now they're massive, as you can see. I literally bought them in like a pot like that size, so they've, but I have had them for like 2 years, so well, I hope they'd grow like that. I also have my ficus gang here. So this is my Ficus shiveriana and my yellow gem, I think it is. And then behind there I have my sundew with a pitcher plant that I got from Oxley Nursery. Then I have a chain of hearts here that I got in a swap, and then another chain of hearts from another swap that I'm going to plant together at some point, and a little tiny string of pearls that I'm trying not to kill. Some cacti that I got in a swap. This guy I bought from a lady who has a lot of them. It's a silver dollar and it is slow as heck, and the growth points keep dying off. Help, why do they keep dying off? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So at the other end of this setup is my Snow Queen, who I got from Bunnings, and this is the one that I found a mandula in as well. And she has the growth point that was the Mandulas growing again. Ah, there it is. So that'd be cool if I got more out of there, but we'll wait and see. Behind her is one of my favourite plants. It's my variegated umbrella plant. This one's from Woolies actually, and I've just recently upsized her pot and put her in a sealed terracotta pot because I couldn't keep up with watering in a non-sealed one. She needs some direct sunlight in my opinion. A lot of people have them in lower light, but I think to keep them nice and bushy like this, some direct sunlight is definitely needed. One of my absolute faves is my monkey tail, who has recently started growing this little baby, and I'm super excited by that. So hopefully he likes being up there because I'd like him to look pretty cool there. This bench used to be where I kept a lot of my outdoor plants, but because the season's changing, it's now getting direct sunlight from like midday. So I don't normally have most of these plants. This guy can't be on here. A lot of the ones up there I don't have on here. Oh, she's still sleeping. So I have a lot of these on this table just for now until I get enough sun inside that I can put them back inside. It's a really annoying time of the year right now. It's driving me insane. Right, we're back in the living room and I realized that I forgot to mention a few plants. I have my hydro peace lily in the middle here. He does pretty well even though it's like reasonably low light. I do move him over to the dining table that we don't really use as a dining table sometimes. This is my parlor palm that I got given from some friends because I babysat their dog for a bit. I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't know why. It's just, what is this long stem? I don't know. It's just, he's very awkward. He's going okay though. He's alright. This is my terrarium, which I have a video on when I first made him, but he has changed a lot since then. It's mostly Photonias, a Syngonium pixie, and moss. And it's pretty healthy in there at the moment. I'm pretty happy with how it's going. And yeah, sometimes I move him over to the kitchen table for a bit more light too. Otherwise he seems okay here. I was going to say this is where the magic happens, but no, the coffee machine is in the laundry, so this is not where the magic happens. So I have an old faithful devil's ivy here, which would get me banned from all Australian Facebook plant groups. But it's not a pothos either, blah blah blah. It's such a thing with the rarer plant groups. It's an epipremnum, which is too difficult to pronounce. Come on guys, come on. And there's my dish rag. Yeah, so neat and tidy. Anyway, this is where I do a lot of my propagation. I have the temperature and humidity reader here, and then it's connected to outside, which I'll show you soon. This is my Brazil leaf, who I have talked about in a few different places. He's never going to grow a plant because I chopped the node in half because I was an idiot, but now I know better. Some Syngonium neon because I chopped them just to make them a little bit more compact and I got them. And this is a Tenanthe that's rooting pretty well. I had it in water to start with and I've just switched it to perlite to make the roots a bit stronger. This is a Peperomia polybotrea who has a nasty looking leaf that I'm going to chop off, and I should really plant him out, like really should. Oh no, get it back in there. This is a Calathea white fusion that I did not expect to grow roots, but it did. So now it's in perlite again because I'm swapping over mostly to perlite because it supposedly makes stronger roots. I don't know, it's going pretty well. This is a Pilea, which will never grow another plant. I just found it on the floor at one of the plant shops and I brought him home and put him in water because I don't have a Pilea, so it was just interesting to look at him. This is a bit more of the philodendron horsehead from my mother-in-law, just a smaller cutting that I'm rooting in water for now. Some more Tenanthe. Did I say that was the Tenanthe back there? Anywho, this is more of the same plant. This one doesn't have any roots coming yet. And some rosemary. This is just in the hallway. It's a shocking point. There's no natural light gets to this spot. So this is a cylindrical been reclassified. I don't feel like trying to say that name either, but you know, it used to be a Sansevieria. Now it's like a Draciana, I don't know. Anywho, I bought it mostly for the pot. These guys will never grow more, these ones here, but these little pups here are kind of how you grow more of this plant. But I have to move it around a bit, so I move it into this room to give it more light every now and then I move it back here again because there's no natural light here. So let's go check out the spare bedroom. So this is the spare bedroom where no one comes to visit us, so I have a lot of plants in here, including my propagation box. That is actually where I keep it. I keep it on the spare bed because it gets a bit of afternoon sunlight through that filtered curtain. I've literally just put that half-leaf philodendron there. I did have it hanging here in the summer and I cooked it and it hated me for the longest time, so I'm trying it on that. And it's just hanging from the curtain rail hook, this part here, that I've put a second screw into the window frame. So there's no extra hole in the wall, but I've just reinforced the curtain hook that's already there, and that's what it's hanging from on a macrame hanger. So that's an option if you're renting, because it's not something that changes anything. I have a full-size fiddle leaf fig here. This guy was my second fiddle leaf fig, and he's definitely fussier than the bambino ones, and slower growing. He's grown so little. In the first 6 months I had him, he didn't give me any leaves, and then I figured out he had hydrophobic soil, and so we've been dealing with that. He's been growing a bit lately. He had an issue with spider mites, which is why some of the leaves look a little bit funny, and he's been out enjoying the rain lately. This is my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that I found at Bunnings with some variegation on it. The newest leaf has come through all green, so I might give it 1 or 2 more leaves, and if they continue to be green, I'm definitely going to be chopping it up just to see what happens. But he may just, that may be it. That may be the only variegated leaves he gives me. Next door is my Monstera Adansonii that I've had for about 12 months. It was a pretty small plant when I got it, and I've propagated and planted back in here many times. Sort of southwest window, so it gets some afternoon sun, but the curtain protects it enough that it doesn't like cook them. So this is some heartleaf philodendron that's actually out of my Brazil plant because it was growing a ton of green growth, and it's much happier than my other heartleaf. Like, it's growing bonanza compared to the other one that I bought as a specific heartleaf. Moving along, I have some more neon syngonium that I'm propagating in, I think this is a mushroom container, in perlite. This is a Tenanthe Burley Marks, I don't know, who I really like. It's super pretty. He's had some fungal issues because of the poor airflow in this room, so he's been outside for a bit. Now he's back inside again. This is my baby ZZ plant, who I've still yet to find a spot I'm happy for him to live in. Here I have some Mandula. That is from my Snow Queen that I showed you earlier. There's 2 cuttings in this pot, and they're growing really quite well now. They took a while to get established, but going great. And here I have some neon pothos that someone, it's not pothos, it's epipremnum. Oh my gosh. Again, someone very kindly sent this to me just because they felt like it. I don't know. I didn't ask for it, just so you know. Just happened. This is my red vein Maranta, who I absolutely adore. And then down here I have a cutting that my mother-in-law just gave me from her red vein Maranta, and then hopefully when they grow up a little bit I'll plant them together and make it a bit bushier. And then I have another piece of Mandula that came from the same Snow Queen, but it looks pretty different, so that's kind of why I planted it up separately. I have this Maranta here. This is literally from a leaf I found on the floor of Bunnings. And I propagated this little bit off the main plant since this one's grown. So I don't know, Marantas seem super hardy, which is great. I recommend these guys if you like prayer plants but you don't want to be bothered with Calatheas. These guys are way easier to look after than Calatheas in my opinion. On the bedside table, which is my propagation table, I have my little grow light. I did have my sundew sitting here, which is the main reason I had the grow light set up, but I found aphids on it, so I hooked it outside. It's also flowering, so I kind of wanted it to be outside while it was flowering. I have another propagation of my watermelon peperomia here that I'll probably drop in a plant drop, I think. I'm not sure, haven't decided yet. These are some Syngonium batic cuttings that I bought a Syngonium batic and I chopped it up a bit because it was really scraggly, so these are those bits. A leaf fell off one of my succulents, so it's here because I don't know what to do with it. This is my white princess cutting that is getting there. It's got some roots on it. This is my Micans. Here was like a 3-leaf plant from Bunnings, like a rescue plant on discount. He had spider mites. He's gone through a lot, but he's growing fantastically now, and my aim now is to grow him across the top of the bed head. That's my purpose. This used to be the jar of shame, but it no longer is. So in here I have 2 Syndapsis cuttings. They're both Exotica, I think, but this one here is one that I swapped for months and months and months ago, and this one here is one that I propagated off that plant from outside months and months and months and months ago, and they're both growing roots since I put them in perlite with a cover on, so recommend that. Let's swing around and have a look in my propagation box real quick. There's not much in here at the moment because I just planted out my silver sword, but I've got a fantasy cutting and a fantasy stump that were not doing very well in water, and so they're now in perlite and they're doing much better. So again, perlite is great. What is that? Oh, it's just a bit of sphagnum. Okay. This is some Hoya that my mother-in-law gave me on the weekend, so it literally just went in there. This is the Monstera Adansonii Valaniata from the living room, a bit of Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, Syngonium neon that broke off the other bit, and that's another Syndapsis exotica that has no spots on it, so I'm interested to see if it keeps being a plain leaf. In the bathroom, and literally the only plant I have in here is my Macotes Sanderiana, which I bought myself as a little special treat because it was pretty expensive from Bunnings. So he was $50. He's growing really well. Obviously I don't have him in a terrarium. He's just growing in like a really barky soil mix. I probably water him once a week. I try not to get the leaves too wet either. And he seems pretty happy in here. This is a south facing window, so nothing else will grow in here. The last room of the house that has plants in it is the bedroom. This is my big Monstera that I bought off Marketplace. And when I bought him, he had really bad fungus snaps, like oh my gosh, so bad. I ended up rinsing his roots off and getting rid of all of the soil. This is where he lives, so he gets a little bit of afternoon sun because that's west, kind of that way. This is also my Ficus lyrata bambino, so this was my first fiddle leaf fig and one of my first plants, and I don't know, I'm not as in love with him as I was when I bought him. Sorry, I just completely changed topics. He's growing alright. He goes outside sometimes. Sometimes he just stays inside, but he's had spider mites as well. Spider mites have been great. So great this summer. Anywho, back to Monstera deliciosa. He's doing really good. As you can see, massive leaves. He's pretty happy. I've got a post in there that he's starting to kind of climb up a little bit. And then just on the bedside table here I have my Marble Queen Epiprenum, whatever, too hard to say. Anyway, this plant is really pretty. I just got it from Big W and I've chopped and propped, so I think, yeah, that leaf is the propagation, and I'm probably going to chop again and prop again, and yeah, the soil's a bit dry, so I'm going to put him out in the rain as well today. These cacti up here, so I can't remember the names. They're hard to remember. This one people call Frankenstein cactus because the pink part won't live without the green part. You can't see them very well up there. But they all get sort of afternoon direct sun here, which you would think would be too hot for them, but I think because they, like the pot is protected by the windowsill, so the pot doesn't heat up, so the roots are still okay. Yeah, I stamped that on there. I think that's why they're okay in the direct western afternoon sun, because only the plant gets heat there. I have a jar of dirt, which I meant to do something about that months and months and months and months ago. Basically, it just has some springtails living in it, and I haven't made another terrarium to put them in, so there's my jar of dirt. So we're outside and it is raining a lot. This is my Ficus elastica taniki, which has mealybugs, or it did at least, so it's on the shelf of shame. My milk cactus, who I underwatered because I'm an idiot. This guy also had mealybugs, but I think he's recovering now. He's a horse here. Then these guys came with the house. There's a palapalm, an anthurium, and a dumb cane as a syngonium. Here's my main Tenanthe plant. I have my calatheas out here getting a little bit of rain, except for that one. This is my dragon's tail, which is a Rhaphidophora diffusiva. And I have him out here trying to get this to grow. Hurry up! My Syngonium Fantasy, and then beside him a little succulent that someone very kindly gave me. This is a Monstera deliciosa that had rust, so I cut half the leaf off, so it looks really great. Here's what's left of my original Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that I had to propagate because it just was not doing well. But it's doing much better now. Another Monstera deliciosa that had rust. Syngonium white butterflies that I love. It's doing amazingly. This is my Queen of the Night that a work friend gave to me. That's grown quite a bit and flowered since I've had it. I have my main Syngonium batik plant, and then my vanilla plant, and then this is my philodendron silver sword that I just planted out. And I bought those guys, and then this one I traded for in a swap. Ficus Lyrata Bambino, who was my first plant ever to get spider mites, so thanks for that. This little collection of succulents, and also the mother-in-law's tongue were given to me as well from someone who's very generous. And then my Ficus elastica burgundy that actually came in the pot with my ruby, and I separated them out. Another Monstera deliciosa. Here's my Rhaphidophora cryptantha, which is one of my absolute favorites. Usually it sits in that pot of water, but because it's just been raining constantly, I've taken it out. Have a bunch of propagations going on here. Over in the back there is my green umbrella plants. These peperomias are adorable. They're also out here getting rain. So is this Syngonium fantasy cutting that's about to grow a new leaf. This is my original watermelon peperomia, who's, I don't know, it's very fussy. Haven't got him figured yet. My main Peperomia polybotrea, who is doing alright since I chopped him up. Over in the back there is another jewel orchid. This is my Lucidia discolor. That guy I just treat like a normal houseplant. He's super easy to look after. And then Tradescantia, another Epipremnum, which there's more over the back there. They came out of my Snow Queen. This is my Calathea mosaica, which I just got. And they're sharing the air conditioning unit with my Begonia Medora because I don't want to overwater them. And there's nowhere else to put them where they'll be happy for now while it's raining. Alright, well that was kind of exhausting, and also I always feel a little bit nervous when I'm outside and I'm talking because I know my neighbours can all hear me and I feel a little bit shy about doing that. I did just pick this guy up today that I wanted to add as well. He is not with any of my other plants because I only just picked him up, so I want to keep him isolated. But he has like some cool variegation on the leaves that I'm hoping stays true, and I'm hoping isn't like some kind of disease or something. Philodendron rainforest. I don't know, that's clearly a made up name for some kind of tissue culture plant. Thanks again everyone who tuned in to watch. I appreciate it. This has been a very long video, so I'm not going to keep babbling on. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.